My name is Eugene, and this is Akhilesh, and together we run the mobile SDK for Salesforce. Our mission is pretty simple, to help developers create amazing mobile apps that are powered by the enterprise data. So when it comes to creating apps that you use at your job, your employee-facing applications, Salesforce is a great platform that allows you to consume your enterprise data and put that inside any mobile experience. Obviously, no mobile conversation is complete without getting into the debate between native and HTML5. You've all been there. Our position is pretty straightforward. It depends on you. You make the decision on an app-by-app basis. That's why when we talk about our mobile SDK, we layer it, and we provide you with all the essential functionality that you need to create a really solid enterprise mobile app. So we start by providing identity via the OAuth 2 standard. We have a secure offline database in case your app needs to work when it's completely disconnected. We have API wrappers and data synchronization techniques so that you can easily move objects and data back and forth between the cloud and your mobile applications. But when it comes to creating the user interface, we give you the choice, especially when it comes to creating HTML-based apps. There are a lot of great frameworks out there. All of them have their merits, and it's really up to you how you leverage them. So now, by combining your HTML with a hybrid container that we have based on PhoneGap, web developers become mobile developers. And ultimately, we believe that is the future, enabling every web developer to become a mobile developer. But I'm here to talk about our journey with Polymer. About a year ago, I was on Hacker News, like I start my daily morning, and I saw this link to this brand new framework. I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. I started watching the video with Matt from Google I/O, and I was just completely blown away. This is from last year. So in my excited state, I ran over to Akhilesh and started ranting. It's like, come on, we have to try this framework. It's amazing, it's easy, it's powerful. Look at Designer, look at Sandbox, it's so cool. And he's like, yeah, whatever. He talked to me a brand new framework every single day. But as we started this conversation, we realized that Polymer was unique. It was based on polyfills. A lot of the platform stuff was going to go away and be baked into the browser. And that was really attractive to us. That's why we released our first version of our components based on Polymer at our annual conference. And we demoed that on stage in front of a large audience. So now I'll go into Sandbox and show you what we demonstrated. So what I have here is an instance of Sandbox that we wired up with several Salesforce components. So I'll start by dragging over the visual components for the navigation, pretty simple component to start an app, and then I'll drag over a list. And the idea here is that we want to build a product catalog for L'Oreal, a branded product catalog that they could submit to their employees and into their apps. So now that I've dragged this UI list element, you just saw a lot of data. Well, this component behind the scenes made a query to our cloud. It got all of the information with the proper security permissions and rendered this list. Pretty cool. It was that simple. And if you look at the code, all it is right now is just 3 lines. But now I want to transform this list. I'm pointing to one of our accounts tables, but I'm building a product catalog. So I'll change this to point to the product table. And just like that, everything changed. New REST API call, new data. I can then further decorate this particular table by changing some of the exposed attributes. And let's add a picture. And just like that, new data has been sent back to this visual element. No change in code, just changing the parameters. And the behaviors in this list automatically reflect that. But this app was supposed to be branded. It was supposed to be for L'Oreal. Now, Akhilesh and I are not web developers, so we decided to leverage the power of the web by going to L'Oreal's website and taking their style sheets. So we literally went to this website, copied some of the style properties, put them into our app, and now when we change the style sheets to that of L'Oreal, immediately the look and feel changes of this particular component. And it's that simple. It's the same 20 lines of code. And it looks like magic, but it's really the power of web components. All the complexity is hidden, and as a developer, this is all you have to use. So this was our first release, and we've learned a great deal about Polymer, and I'll hand it over to Akhilesh to talk about what we've built next.
Thanks so much, Eugene. So as Eugene sort of showed us the journey of how we started with simple elements, actually we have come quite a long way now. We have kind of built our own sort of gallery of our own elements here. And initially when we started, we really did not have much of an elements. We started with some basic data elements, and you can see in this category, and a lot of people sort of talked about this beforehand. Like, you need to think about elements in 2 different categories, like the ones which are just data elements or non-visual elements, which just do behind the scenes all the work for you and help other visual elements to really render properly. So we have like few data elements such as S object collection here, and so to sort of point to some tables inside Salesforce and gather some list of records from Salesforce and a detail to fetch any record detail from Salesforce. But then we started to work on some UI elements, and we had some simple list and view elements initially just to show a simple application. But then we actually started to work around with the rest of our colleagues, and we realized that our user experience team had been working on a prototyping framework with Angular, and they were building a bunch of different components on Angular, like web directives almost, to help build a design framework so that they can test new designs and do some user research with them. So we talked to them, we told them about Polymer, and they were super excited about that. And within actually few hours, they were able to turn their Angular components into Polymer components. And you can see the gallery here, and this is all hosted on a Heroku website. You can see there's a whole gallery of more than 100+ components. And you can see if I drag and drop, like, for example, this element, it's a simple anchor dark element, we call it, and exposes all the properties on the right side through our designer tool. I can go change anything here. I can put my name. And that's the beauty of Polymer. I change any attribute, it starts to show up. So all these elements, which are like whatever Angular earlier, were now Polymer with live binding capabilities. So we have like a calendar component. We have like a navigation component I can pull down here. So like if you're building an application, you want to have some navigation on the left side. We all are used to that through Facebook and other applications. A notification section. So we were building these sort of core elements for prototyping, but now when we could attach them with real data, they really can come alive and help you build a proper application, which is exactly which I kind of want to show you here. So what we can do here, for example, I can pull a simple list element, which is nothing but a static HTML, creating a simple list of UL and LIs. And what I can do is I can bind with real data coming from Salesforce. But to do that, I'll first just log into Salesforce account. It will initiate an OAuth flow and give me a session from Salesforce. And I can drag and drop this invisible element behind the scenes, which is just running a query against our account table. And I can bind these two together now just by simply selecting my collection object and using the collection property. And voila, it quickly just pulls all my account records, sales account records from Salesforce out of the box using our APIs. I can go back to my collection element, change anything here. If I want to look at, say, contact table, look at the recent items from there, I can just change some properties, and now I have a list of contacts coming from Salesforce. So let me show you some more stuff. I can put some list header in there to make it more contextual. I can go to my list header element, drag it up there on the top, give it more context, bind back to my data element, and specify the object table am I looking at, give some visual indication of the icon. So now it shows exactly which kind of information I'm looking at. But this is, again, a simple view. We always, when we look at these demos, we are always concerned about, OK, can I really build an application with this? So what I was doing was we actually built up a scaffold element, which basically nothing but a container in some ways, where you can put a navigation area. So I can drag and drop my navigation element here, which I showed you guys a little bit earlier. So I can just drag and drop it here. So I have now navigation working. I have a notifications area. I can drag and drop a notifications here. And then I have a central area, sort of main area, where I can build my application. And I can put these elements now back into this guy and bind this whole application from my navigation on the left side. So what I could do is go back to my collection object. Instead pointing it to static value, I can select it from my navigation and say selected as object property. And voila, it automatically pulls an account. So now if I tap on opportunities, it's pulling my opportunities list. And so I was able to build that quickly. And like it's kind of a cooking show where I'm showing you now the final product. So like this is the full application where I can select any object. And it's kind of the designer is a little broken here. But ultimately, it gives me this simple plain HTML, which is just 20 lines of simple HTML tags, which anyone can understand. And the power which comes with Polymer and Mobile SDK, which we as a product are working on, I could just copy paste this simple HTML, go back to Xcode, where I can create a new project with Mobile SDK, which works across on iOS platform. It's a simple HTML page. I can just drop this HTML here, save this guy, and run this in my iOS simulator. It will launch this application, authenticate against Salesforce using my Salesforce login flow, and I have now the same application running as a native application. I can just choose any object, look at the details right here. I have notifications, and it's a fully fledged working application that I could build in just 20 lines of code.
So yeah, so this is part of our announcement. Yeah, so here's the link. You go to bit.ly/mobilepacks. We're an open company, and so we encourage everybody to start playing with these frameworks. All of the sources available on GitHub, and we're putting design or host on Heroku onto this website. So if you want to build an enterprise app, get a free developer account, and start using Polymer, and together we're going to change the world.
Solve cancer.